Today is the big day. We're going to be pouring the concrete for the pole barn and for the chicken coop as well. So here comes the first cement truck in. I think we got a post in the way there. I think we'll have them move it. All right, here we go. We're back to getting the truck in here. Yeah, I made a big mistake. I should have never put that post in. So I just told them to take it out so they have more room to get in and out of this barn. So. We can get a little closer view. Yeah, I think that's about there. This is the same crew that poured my 90 or 40 by 90 barn, which is over there. And then the chicken coop's next to that. And after they pour this pole barn today, they'll go over there and pour some concrete around the front and sides of that chicken coop. That's something my wife wanted. But anyway, here we go. We're ready here. We're putting the plastic down so we have a moisture barrier. Otherwise, when the hay's sitting in there, it'll get moisture underneath the hay, and then you'll have mold. So this will keep the concrete from having moisture come up through the ground and create mold on my hay. So that's why we're putting the plastic down. There's the other truck going the wrong way too. I turned the other one around to come here to the pole barn.
Daniel called me. That's Danny.
Okay.
He called me a minute ago.
If you're using the 1525 Shopper Road, they're going to go there.
Yeah.
Give them 319 School Lewis Road.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, it's Lewis School Road.
Okay.
319 School Lewis Road. We're putting re-rod down here in like 4 locations because I've got a second story, and I'll have 8x8 posts sitting there on the concrete to build the second story. So that's why you'll see these. There'll be 4 of them, sections of re-rod going in, and you'll see that it's going to be deeper there too. I wanted to have 8-inch of concrete, and it's a 2x2 square, so that'll help support the second story when I set the post there. All right, well now they're starting to let the concrete pour. So let's take a look. I'm using Chapman Outdoor Solutions for my concrete. They've done all my concrete for my barn. And they also haul a lot of gravel for me. They probably brought in 40 loads of gravel for the farm in different areas. I keep gravel all around my barns. I got a gravel drive going down to my cattle barn and around the cattle barn. That way, it doesn't matter if it's raining outside or what the weather is. It's always clean. I'm not picking up all this mud and dragging it all over the place and dragging it into the barn. So I like to use a lot of gravel. I've started putting some here already, but that's just to help keep it a cleaner work area, I should say. But when the barn's done, I'll be bringing several loads of gravel in here and graveling around the barn. I start out with the larger gravel to begin with, and then I go smaller gravel on top of that. So this is, I think they call this number 4, and then I'll use 57s on top of it. So that's what we're going to do once the barn's all built. I also will be graveling this up through here to the 2-track so I can get in and out of the barn with the hay and equipment. And right here is my hay field. And it extends all the way over, and over by the other barn is a pasture, 8-acre pasture. And that's where I have my registered Red Angus at this time. This gentleman here is Austin. He's the owner of Chapman Outdoor Solutions. They're here in Dahlonega. They're located about 15 miles from me here in Dahlonega, Georgia, so it's real convenient to use them. And they've done a great job, so I highly recommend them if you're in the northern Georgia area. Gainesville, Dahlonega, Dawsonville, White County, and so forth, Hamersham. He does all those areas and beyond. So I'm gonna pause here, and then I'll show some more video later on during the pour. Get a closer view of where the posts are gonna be. You can see the re-rod, and that's where the concrete will be 8 inches deep, and then there will be a couple more of those further in the barn as they move along. In between the posts, we're going for at least 5.5, 6 inches deep, and in the center area will be anywhere from 4 to 5 inches deep. And then, of course, like I said earlier, 8 inches where the re-rod is. Got the next truck lined up. Come in. I think this is going to take about 4.5 truckloads of concrete. Maybe 5. Each load is 9 yards, and I have a 40 by 50 footprint here that they'll be pouring concrete on. So it's gonna be a lot of concrete. Well, I left my John Deere 2520 running. No sense burning money with it just sitting there idling, so I'm gonna go shut that off, and as I walk up there, you kind of get a higher elevation view of the concrete pour. The top of the cement truck there is 14 feet where that funnel is up there. I'm not sure what you call it. So it gives you an idea of the height of this barn by just comparing the cement truck to the height of the roof. My farm's in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We're on the southern edge of the Smoky Mountains. So the Appalachian Trail from my farm is just a few miles up the road. And so you can see I have to walk uphill here to get to my tractor where the next truck's coming in. And the barn is sitting down here kind of in a hollow area. But at the top of the land up here where I'm walking up to my tractor, the elevation is 1,650 feet. You know, I think I'm going to move my tractor. It's well off the 2-track, but I don't want to take a chance of these Smith trucks backing out or coming in and hitting it. So I think I'll take a moment to move that as well. Well, hopefully on the other side of the fence it'll be safe over here. One of the big challenges, these concrete trucks, is they have to back out. There's really no good place to turn around. If they get into the hayfield, they're gonna have problems. So they're gonna have to back out. So this gentleman, he's backing out over here with this truck, and that'll allow this other one to back out. And hopefully they'll be able to do all right with this. But I imagine these guys are experienced enough to be able to back out without hitting anything. Lord willing, we'll just pray that that's the case. So let's see. Again, walking down to the barn, you can see how the land drops off here and how rolling the land is. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains here. Beautiful. You can see some mountaintops over here. If I was at the top of the hill here, you could see other mountaintops as well. Okay, we have the second truck in position now, and so here comes our second load of concrete. As I mentioned earlier, each truck brings in 9 yards of concrete. I'm going to try to as close as I can. Off in the distance, you can see the third truck coming down Shofford Road. And they line up outside that gate to come in. I've got 2 gravel drives out there, so it gives them room to maneuver to get in and out. The low spots or the deeper spots where the re-rod is, those are 13 feet in from the side posts on both sides. And that leaves my middle area 14 feet wide. My door will be a 12-foot opening, but I just wanted to have a little bit more space to maneuver as I come through the barn. So that's why I went with a little bit wider area in the center. So that's 13 feet off the sides on each side, and then in the middle we've got 14. So that's a total of 40 feet. All right, I'm gonna show a little bit more of the concrete being poured. Now, who's the head guy out here with the crew?
Miguel. Well,
in the yellow.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Boy, this weather turned out just perfect for today with forecasting rain and all that.
Nice yesterday.
So Austin, how long have you been in business with Chapman Outdoor Solutions?
Man, I've been doing this for probably close to about 18 years.
And didn't your dad?
Yeah, my dad was in the construction business, and he did more home building and stuff, and then I kind of went into doing grading and concrete and stuff like that.
And you're located right here in Dahlonega, Georgia, right?
Yes, sir. We're right here in Dahlonega, based on.
And what other things do you guys do besides concrete work?
So we do a lot of grading, excavation, trucking and hauling, and concrete work.
Oh, okay. Like, do you get involved in removing big trees too when you're doing excavating?
Yes,
and
we do.
Getting them off site to clean the site up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. That's great. Yeah. And so you've been doing work for me, I think, for 3 years now.
Yeah.
We first did that big barn up there, and I don't know. I'm guessing maybe 40 loads of gravel you've brought in so far.
we've brought a lot of rock in here.
Has anybody had more gravel delivered than myself, one of your customers?
I tell you, you're probably hitting top notch on. I mean, besides commercial stuff, but I mean, individual homeowners, customers, you've probably hit it hauling that much rock.
Okay. And we figure we're going to put about how many more loads around this barn when it's all said and done, top dressing it?
I think when it's all said and done, you're probably looking at another 5 to 6, give or take.
And we've already brought in, what, 3 loads?
There's 3 loads. Yep, you got 1.5 loads on your concrete slab, and then you've got another 1.5 kind of scattered around.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I like a clean site. You know, especially you get into the rainy season, whether you're talking spring or winter, I like to be able to get around with my tractors and equipment and not be hauling mud with me too, you know, tearing things up. So that's why I like a lot of gravel. I know a lot of guys that don't bother with it, and that's fine, but I prefer to keep my tractors and everything clean. I mean, a lot of times I'm so fussy my neighbors will stop me and rib me because when I'm getting done using the tractor, I'll be out front power washing it, cleaning it off, putting it in the barn, dusting them off.
But hey, it's clean though.
It is.
Keep it clean, and it's easy to maintain and work on.
Well, I figure it's less maintenance when you keep your tractors clean and you keep them out of the weather and they're not rusting. I do the same thing with my implements, and that's why we'll be adding the 16-foot overhang there as well. I think I'll use that for my hay wagons. I can just pull them through a couple hay wagons. And some of my hay equipment will be stored in here with the hay barn.
Now, how high will you have your lean-to right there?
I'm going to
drop down 1 foot, 2 foot, or?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the 16-foot at the height, top, and then
drop down to 14.
About 14, yeah. That way I don't have to worry about hitting it. You know, I can get in and out with everything I have and never have to worry about hitting the lean-to. So that's why I want it that high. All right, we're getting ready to pull out here pretty soon. The next truck's coming in. And so they estimated it 30 yards. So it's really going to be 3 trucks plus a partial truck to finish this. And then we'll head over to the chicken coop and see how that's poured as well. Okay, we're waiting on the 3rd truck. So far we've poured 18 yards in here. And we need 12 more yards of concrete. Yeah. Earlier in the week they were forecasting rain today, but we've had a blue sky, so Lord's been good. Giving us good weather for this pour. The next several days it's rain every day, so this is great timing to get it done today. And here comes the third truck. One thing I like about these cement trucks, they really pack down your gravel too. Yeah, that was a mistake putting that post in. It's gotten bumped a few times, but I'll take it out and put another one in. As he's smoothing out the concrete here, the other guys are laying the plastic down for the next load of concrete to be poured. They're getting ready to pour the, well, we'll probably be the last load because we'll need a partial load yet. But they're closing in the end of the barn here. They had to leave it open initially for the trucks, but now they're having to form it in because the cement truck can reach with its chute at this point. And then here we're putting a stoop. So this is, I'll have a service door to get into the barn. This barn's a hay barn, and at the top of the sidewalls there will be a foot opening so air can flow through. My ridge vent, there's airflow, and I'm using roll-up doors, which, you know, I would close down like after the summer, maybe fall. Once we know the hay is good and dry and that there's no possibility of combustion and that sort of thing, then with the cooler temperatures and the gap that you can see up there, that's where the opening will be on both sides. At the very top you'll see there should be enough airflow where I could close those roll-up doors. And I will have a roll-up door at the end of this gable here, end of the barn, which will be a 4x5 opening, and then I have a hay elevator which I can shoot my square bales up there with. So that's where we are right now, and I think I'll just pause a minute here and then we'll come back when they're starting to pour again. Okay, they finished building out the form on the west end of the barn, and now they're getting ready to pour concrete. They're scooping out some of the gravel over there to make sure that we got at least 5.5 inches to 6 inches of depth in between the posts. One of the reasons I want it deeper here is because I'm going to frame up some walls in here, and that's where my floor joists are going to sit. So my floor joists are going to run north and south, and so that's why I wanted that deeper. by the post. So they actually have gone below this board here. This is a 2x6, which is 5.5 inches, but they dug down below the 2x6 to give me closer to 6 inches and possibly even more at times. Well, they're finishing up on the concrete for the pole barn. It ended up taking 30 yards of concrete, and I mentioned earlier about the trucks holding 9 yards. I didn't realize they could go up to 12 yards, although that's quite a bit, and spill out at 12 yards. So they ended up putting 10 yards of concrete on each truck, and 3 trucks was enough to finish it. So now they're doing the final finishing and polishing. There's 1.5 inches outside the post all the way around the perimeter, and that's where the metal will set. They'll set the wrap guard or the rat guard first, and then the metal will come down into the rat guard along the outer edge of the pole barn. But I think they did a good job. Real pleased with the work they've done so far, and it looks like they're taking their time to get it finished. So they'll probably be here for a good hour or so yet, just getting it polished and finished up before they leave. And it's good because they're talking about thunder showers at some point later today. So the more time this can have to dry before then, the better. But I do have a roof over it, and the ridge cap is on it, so that'll help protect it quite a bit. I think it's looking good, and it'll be a good place to store hay, and also I'll put farm equipment in there, hay equipment exactly, to be exact. And on the other side, we're on the south side of the barn right now, which is where the drive is that comes in. But on the north side, there will be a overhang that's going to go out 16 feet. And we're going to put it about, we want 12 feet of clearance at the low end of the overhang. And that'll give me about 15 feet, not quite 15 feet of clearance on the high end where it attaches to the barn. But that'll allow me to get any of my equipment in and out of there and not have to worry about hitting the top of the roof, trusses, or anything like that. So I'm looking forward to getting that added on. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not until I had a chance to see how the barn looked and how much space I had on the north side, if there was going to be enough, and there is. And so Monday, when they come back to finish up, they're going to be bringing some gravel and putting more gravel around the barn. I'll call it the underlayment gravel, which is the larger gravel. And then later on, we'll come back with the smaller gravel and put it on top of that once the barn's all done to finish it out. But we'll be spreading that gravel 16 feet where that trailer is. That trailer will have to be moved because it'll be going past that trailer a little bit. And then we'll go all the way around the barn. We'll actually fill in the culvert areas here, but it'll still allow the water to drain through the rock. We'll do the same thing over there. It's that way I can get around the barn with my tractor equipment. I won't be coming here on the south side, but on the west end, north side, and east end I will. And we'll be putting a gravel drive coming out of the barn here on the east end up to the 2-track. And then we'll be laying gravel into here more, up to where this drive's coming up to the 2-track, and that'll be it. The rest we'll leave the 2-track as is. But in this area here, I want to make sure that I've got good gravel base and stuff, so no matter what time of the year I'm coming over here to get hay for the cattle, I won't be trying to track through mud to get to it, because my cattle barn is on the other side of those trees. You can't see it. And so the best way for me to go is head right out the Lewis School Road down to Shoffett, to where my other barn is, and come right on down the 2-track to the cattle barn. That way I'm not going through a bunch of gates. I just basically have one gate to get through. But so this is what it's looking like. Yeah, so they should be finishing up, like I said, within an hour here and be done with it. We'll just let it dry, and tomorrow we'll come back and do some saw cuts to keep it from cracking. So we'll have those saw cuts, and so if it does crack at all, it'll be the cut is where they will crack. And where right now the gravel's below the barn grade, the gravel will all be brought up to barn grade, so it'll be just a smooth transition from gravel into the barn once all the gravel is put down. So, and that'll help protect the corner of the gravel coming in, so you're not breaking it off. And I'm coming in with a heavy load of hay and with my tractor. So, okay, so we'll catch up to the next section of it when they're doing the saw cuts, and we'll get that on video as well, and then take a look at the final concrete and walk it before we finish this video. I hope that's of help to you. You enjoy seeing the concrete being poured and the finished product. And you can see my stoop over there. We'll have a service store, so I think it's looking good.